There's a special kind of chaos that erupts when an American tourist encounters airport security protocols they've decided don't apply to them. I'm talking about the full theatrical production. The indignant speeches, the amateur constitutional law arguments, the shocked Pikachu face when they realize international airports operate under international rules. But nothing, and I mean nothing, compares to what happened at Munich Airport when a gentleman from Arizona tried to board a flight to Vienna wearing a tactical vest with 47 pockets, each one containing a different emergency supply. Security asked him to remove it. Simple request, right? This man looked the officer dead in the eye and said, "This vest is registered with the TSA. I have paperwork." He did not have paperwork. What he had was a laminated receipt from a military surplus store in Tucson and an unshakable belief that lamination equals legal documentation. When they insisted, he launched into a 15-minute explanation of his constitutional right to preparedness, citing the Second Amendment, the Boy Scout motto, and somehow the Treaty of Versailles. The security officer, maintaining the emotional range of a marble statue, simply replied, "Sir, you have 17 batteries, 4 knives, a flare gun, and what appears to be a full pharmacy. This is not preparedness. This is smuggling with anxiety." They unpacked that vest for 40 minutes. He missed his flight, got flagged for additional screening on all future EU travel, and last I heard, he was trying to sue the country of Germany for discrimination against prepared individuals. But that's just Tuesday in international aviation. Let me tell you about the American who tried to convince Swiss customs that his pet raccoon was a registered emotional support mammal. At Amsterdam Schiphol, a woman from Florida absolutely lost her mind when security confiscated her full-size bottle of artisanal hot sauce that she insisted was a condiment, not a liquid. The security officer patiently explained the 100 milliliters rule. She escalated immediately. "This is a solid hot sauce. It has pulp. The peppers are suspended, not dissolved. I'm a food scientist." She was not a food scientist. She was a lifestyle blogger from Tampa who'd taken one community college nutrition class in 2007. The officer demonstrated the liquid rule with a simple tilt test, the sauce poured. Her response? "That's because you agitated it. You're supposed to keep it upright. This is destruction of evidence." She demanded they test every liquid in the airport using her same agitation protocol to prove discrimination. Then she played her trump card. She called the American embassy and tried to report trade restriction violations against American hot sauce export. The embassy operator, clearly exhausted, allegedly said, "Ma'am, this is the 4th hot sauce call today." She left the sauce, took her flight, and posted a 2,400-word blog titled, "How the Netherlands is Waging Economic War on American Small Businesses Through Hot Sauce Persecution." Meanwhile, in Copenhagen, an American guy tried to bring a full wheel of aged cheddar through security. Carry on, not check. We're talking a legitimate 8-pound cheese wheel, wax coating and all. Security flagged it for additional screening. His explanation? It's a solid. Your rules say no liquids, aerosols, or gels. Cheese is dairy. Dairy is a solid food group. Therefore, this is legal. The officer explained that the size and density made it problematic for X-ray screening. He countered with, "So you're discriminating against cheese? What about religious cheese exemptions?" When asked what religion requires 8-pound cheese wheels in carry-on luggage, he said traditional Wisconsinism with complete sincerity. He then demanded they X-ray every single cheese product in the airport to prove his cheese was being singled out. They made him check it. He filed a complaint with the USDA about Danish anti-dairy sentiment affecting American cheese export. The USDA's response was apparently just, in an official letterhead. At Prague Airport, a tourist from Texas had his cowboy boots flagged for additional screening. They had decorative metal toe cap. He refused to remove them, claiming they were part of my cultural identity, and that forcing him to take them off was religious persecution of cowboy culture. The security officer, a very patient Czech woman, explained they just needed to inspect the metal. He escalated. In Texas, making a man remove his boots is fighting words. This violates the Geneva Convention. She asked which part of the Geneva Convention covered footwear. He said, the one about dignity. Look it up. He then attempted to cite cowboy law as superseding Czech aviation security, referenced a fake treaty between Texas and the EU about cultural footwear recognition, and threatened to have the airport reported to the International Court of Cowboys. They inspected his boots while he wore them, using a handheld detector. He still left a 1-star review claiming the airport doesn't respect Western heritage. At Helsinki Airport, an American woman declared nothing on her customs form, then proceeded to get caught with 47 boxes of prescription medication, not for her, but for various friends and family who find European healthcare too complicated. When Finnish customs explained that importing that volume of prescription medication without authorization was illegal, she responded with, "But American medicine is better. I'm doing you a favor. This is basically foreign aid." The customs officer asked if she had documentation proving these medications were approved for import. She said, "I have a Costco receipt. That's documentation of value." She then explained her elaborate theory. Because Finland has universal healthcare, they must have lower quality medications, so she was upgrading her relatives' prescriptions by bringing American versions. She'd Googled none of this. When they began confiscating the medications, she started crying about how she was just trying to help people trapped in socialized medicine and insisted this was humanitarian work. She demanded to speak to whoever's in charge of Finnish healthcare to explain her donation. They explained these were her relatives' personal prescriptions, not donations. She said, semantics. She got fined €4,000, almost missed her connection, and later posted in a Facebook group asking if she could sue Finland for rejecting American medical assistance. In Stockholm, Arlanda, a guy from California tried to bring in a live sourdough starter, declared as a pet. Not a joke on his customs form, under, "Are you bringing any animals?" He checked yes and wrote Herman. When Swedish customs asked why he didn't just check it, he launched into a passionate speech about how Herman needed temperature stability and emotional reassurance during travel. The officers stared at him. He continued, "Herman is a living organism with complex microbiology. Separating us would cause distress." The officer said, "It's yeast." He responded, "You're clearly not a baker." He then produced a fake emotional support organism certificate he'd made on Canva, featuring clip art of bread and an official-looking seal he'd downloaded. He explained that Herman helped with his anxiety and that Sweden must recognize all life forms as potential support animals under EU wellness directives. He'd invented this directive. When they said he could dispose of the starter or miss his flight, he chose a third option. He started a sit-in protest, holding Herman's container and chanting "Living Cultures Matter." Airport police eventually escorted him to a disposal bin. He ceremonially said goodbye to Herman, took 17 photos, and later started an Instagram account called Herman's Swedish Martyrdom, with 6,000 followers who believe Sweden murdered his sourdough. At Lisbon Airport, a tourist from Florida arrived with 6 frozen lobsters in his checked luggage, packed in regular ice in Ziploc. Not dry ice, regular ice. The bag was leaking. Portuguese customs was baffled. His explanation? "I'm bringing authentic Maine lobsters to my Airbnb because Portuguese seafood isn't real Atlantic seafood." The officer explained that Portugal is literally on the Atlantic Ocean. He said, "Yeah, but it's the European Atlantic. The American Atlantic is different." Different currents, different minerals, different lobsters. I Googled it. He had not Googled it, or if he had, he'd somehow absorbed the opposite of all available information. When they confiscated the now thawed, potentially hazardous lobsters, he accused Portugal of protectionist seafood policies to prop up inferior local lobster. There is no Portuguese lobster industry being protected. He threatened to report this to the International Seafood Trade Organization, not a real organization. He then claimed his ruined vacation was Portugal's fault because his entire meal plan revolved around these lobsters, and demanded compensation for forced consumption of European seafood. Customs gave him a pamphlet about import regulations. He threw it away and bought McDonald's, later posting that Portuguese customs doesn't understand American food culture. But my absolute favorite airport security catastrophe happened at Vienna Airport when a woman from Georgia, the state, she was very insistent about this, tried to bring through a gallon-sized Ziploc bag filled with what she called lucky airport dirt. Actual dirt, soil, from her backyard. When Austrian security asked why she was transporting soil internationally, she explained she had terrible flight anxiety and her therapist told her to bring something grounding from home. Her therapist probably meant a photo. She brought literal ground. Security explained that importing soil without agricultural permits was illegal due to pest and disease risk. She looked genuinely shocked. It's from my yard doesn't have diseases. I would know, I live there. The officer tried explaining invasive species protocols. She countered, Georgia dirt is famous for being clean. It's where Coca-Cola comes from. That's quality control. Neither of these facts related to each other or soil safety. When they moved to confiscate it, she grabbed the bag and hugged it, getting dirt all over her shirt, and cried, "This is from my grandmother's garden. It has sentimental value." The officer gently noted that sentimental value doesn't override agricultural law. She then tried to compromise. "What if I promise not to let it touch Austrian dirt? I'll keep it sealed. It's basically a souvenir at this point." They explained that sealed or not, it was still prohibited. She pivoted to offense. This is discrimination against Southern culture. Dirt is important to us. It's tradition. The officer asked which Southern tradition involved international dirt transportation. She said, "All of them. Have you even been to Georgia?" He had not, but felt confident Austrian agricultural law still applied. She finally surrendered the dirt, but not before she asked if she could just eat it real quick, so it would technically be inside her body and therefore legal. They said no. She left the dirt, took her flight, and according to airport legend, tried to mail herself dirt from Georgia to her hotel in Vienna, which Austrian Postal Service also confiscated. She posted a TripAdvisor review claiming Vienna has anti-soil policies that discriminate against Americans with garden-based emotional support needs. Here's the thing about Americans abroad encountering security protocols. It's not that we don't understand rules, it's that we've developed this fascinating belief that rules are actually just strong suggestions that disappear when you explain your personal situation creatively enough. We've been conditioned by years of, the customer is always right, to believe that reality itself is negotiable if you just escalate confidently enough. So next time you're at an international airport and you see an American explaining to security why their specific interpretation of regulations should override international law, just remember, somewhere, someone is still trying to figure out how to legally transport emotional support sourdough across borders. And honestly, that's beautiful. Stupid, but beautiful.